I didn't plan what we should do after the scary face, and I realized that was a mistake. I was like, everyone make a scary face.
Thomas. Do a scary face. What? No.
What else? What else are we doing? Oh no, I like the dat rev, the what face. What up, everybody? It's Scope Check. It is Friday.
I am here.
It's Friday.
Yeah, Joy's internet works.
Yeah.
I have upgraded my internet. My ISP is, well, I mean, it's the same, but my package has improved, so I should be reliably here from here on out. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. What up to all the YouTube and Twitch chatters? I hope you're well. It's so good to see you all again.
Yeah,
if you're still watching this show after... Yo, Tall Guy! Sorry. It's not Tall Guy in chat. If you're still watching this show after seeing us miserably fail at basic things like enums and the input system, then we're so glad you're here.
In fact, I'd say I'm more glad you're here if you saw us fail and you still want to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Hey, they're just members all aboard the struggle bus.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys did great. It's perseverance. It's coming back this week after next week that makes y'all the heroes of the game.
Aww.
And that's the secret of game dev, right? Like, it's about coming back after a secret of success at anything. I've also completely lost my video window. There it is. It's coming back after a tough time or getting stuck. And, yeah, so I'm glad you all are here. I can't remember, what was it's bit.ly/scopecheck_TDD. Is that our technical document link? Yo, from memory.
Wow.
I just follow links that you send me an email. Like, that's...
Yeah, I just click the link, you know. Even if my computer says don't click it, I'm like, Thomas sent it. I trust him.
I trust him.
Like, genuinely, like, I could have saved these documents at any point, but no, every time I need the TDD, I go to my Gmail, I'm like, Thomas Winkley. Okay, there it is.
Yes. I'm glad it's so I know now that I can start sending you those emails saying that I need your social and password for no reason other than it's game dev related.
No, I'm just clicking the links. I'm not sending you my social.
Could you please send me your American Express card number and your social? No reason.
It's we've been friends for a while, but you've never shared with me what your mother's maiden name was or your first name.
And I feel like all my homies tell me that. Like, all my homies know my mother's maiden name. It's a sign of trust. It's a sign of trust.
I'm a private person.
That's fair. So, social engineering aside, let's take a look at where we're at with the scope check. Let's go to our first segment, the scope check. And I think we have the TDD up, and we can kind of talk through how we're feeling. So, I think let's start with bad news and move into good news. So, the bad news is like there's no way we're doing netcode in 2 more episodes. Like, it's just not happening. Yeah. That being said, I think we now know how to do netcode in this game. So stay tuned for potential ideas on how we do that. But maybe network check. We'll see. Yeah, we gotta think about that a little bit, right? Like, but it's just, I think for where we're at right now, like, we want to do a full play test. Which actually our next episode, and join us if you haven't heard this yet, because we discussed this right before we jumped into our stream chat, but we're going to do a full playtest in 2 weeks. We're going to have some Unity advocates from the advocacy team join us and some game designers, and they're going to go through and test our game and give us a bunch of feedback, and then we're going to see how we can tweak that feedback going into the last episode, where we will implement our art and stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, we're actually going to have a playable game in 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks.
Let's do it. Yeah,
I hear Utsov.
I can. Oh, yeah.
Our production says Utsov can't be heard. Chat, if you can hear Utsov, type a pizza emote in the chat if we have those. So I think we can, though, because no one's complained yet, which no complaints is usually good. All right, so looking at the TDD. Also, hey, program, you got to put Utsov on screen, too. We miss him. He's gone. We kicked him out of the show.
No,
Yeah,
there we go. It's because he was just upset about netcode and he didn't want to be physically present. Like, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with it. It was just Utsov was like, no, I don't want to be part of this discussion.
All right, cool. By the way, shout out to Freeman, the best Twitch producer in the business. Thank you so much, man. You do so much amazing work for us, and I hope you know that we actually
all I have to do is show up, and you guys handle the rest. And
that's actually
amazing.
And if anybody in the chat has ever done streaming, not having to think about that is just incredible. Okay. So now that we shared love to Freeman, and also our moderators, let's go to Alex in the chat. So we need to prep for object pooling this week. We've done that. We're ready to rock. Joy, you need to integrate monster difficulty into spawning waves. How we feeling?
Feeling very good. I'm
Awesome.
super excited about our monsters. I can't wait to show off what is there. I was going to say what I did, but really, like, the reason why I'm so excited is because the actual monsters are in it. They're so cute.
They're very cute.
I cannot wait to show you guys. It's so good. And then, like, we've got, like, some health stuff. I did some percentages. Math is hard, but I overcame it. God for
Math is
calculators.
hard.
But yeah, super stoked to show you guys what I was up to this week.
Perfect. And then it's character controller. We got stuck on the character controller a little bit. We're trying to get access to context through the event system.
I found an elegant solution. So, you know, depending on whether you put value pass through button, after reading through tons and tons of documentation, Unity's package documentation is not as good as our editor documentation that is our basic docs, but it took me a little moment, but I was able to find an elegant solution of passing button as a value type. That way you can return a bool on pressing and releasing the button.
Nice.
And I can then pass that bool to the stall behavior to do the appropriate UI and you know, just ammo pickup and updates through that. So I think we are good there finally.
Awesome. So that begs the question then, do we think that in our next stream in 2 weeks, we, aside from art integration and audio integration, will we have a playable build, and are we feeling confident for the playtest?
We can do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what does player controller need, and I because of how long it took me to read the documentation, I wasn't able to get the throw functionality done, which I'm hoping shouldn't take more than a couple of hours when I'm able to fix it. I was able to add rotation, but and toggle I've started on, and should be just maybe 15 more minutes of work hopefully.
Cool.
So I feel confident.
Perfect. So we're in a good spot. We're doing good. So aside from netcode, everything else is staying. We're cooking, and I'm very excited about it. I think the other stuff that we should do before we dive into actually reviewing the code we wrote the last 2 weeks. By the way, I need to go look at my Twitter DMs again, but an amazing one of our viewers actually made a pull request on GitHub with some optimization ideas. I've looked over them briefly, but I haven't had time to fully sit down and take a look. So after we finish today, once I kind of finish the rest of my work I've got to do for the company, I'm actually going to look at that and see if we can integrate the pull request. And I would love to review that on stream as well, because it's super dope. So thank you so much. Like the thought that another human being would be interested enough in what we're doing to be like, yo, here's a pull request is actually, it's a super cool. So thank you very much. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
on it.
shout
And,
out. Like, so awesome. Like,
And
thank
also,
you.
we probably need the optimization. So thank you for that too.
yeah, absolutely. We need that. We really do need that support. So thank you. You've seen this code. It's rough. It's rough in these streets. Okay. So that being said, let's jump to the next thing I want to show you all. We have some concept art for our hero that I would like to show you. I'm actually really excited about this. So our artist Stefano has been working on this. He works on the real-time learning team.
I just want to say I'm sad that we didn't choose the cats.
That's fair. Yeah, we ended up not going with the cats.
For right hand corner.
Yeah, look at that top right. Look at that
Guys!
boss.
I don't
Guys!
see that at all. I don't
It's
know what
the
that is.
meme.
The meme is here. He made us our little meme. So he's actually hard at work in 3D. So if you look, this was the initial so the top row is the initial concept that was sent, was like, hey, here's my initial ideas for heroes, right? And I do love the cats. Honestly, I love the cats. I think we really ended up going with the humanoid characters more because, like, it's a school. That was our only, like... I also like the idea that I liked the pink hair with the green skin a lot. Like, I really dug the pink hair. So I was like, so this is what we ended up going with. So then Stefano in phase 2 provided us this bottom segment you see here with these 6 variations. And I think the variation that we all agreed on was this bottom left, the red and white striped with the hat and the little Unity logo. That's our homie. That's going to be the main character for the game. And then I think, we'll be ready to rock. So I'm excited. Super excited.
Yep, that's some dope art.
So good. Yeah, like Stefano really came through. Shout out to him. I always love his designs, but
He's so
every
good.
time he comes out with something new, I'm like, you've topped yourself again. And then like, I'm obsessed with the clown snake. So yeah, shout out, really great job. Super happy that he's out here helping us out. It's so cool.
Yep. And his design
Plus
process
one.
is neat. We're going to share some more about his design process the last episode when we put everything together. And we'll even talk about like the audio design process we went through with Hemi. We already showed you the music and he was in chat last time, but he's actually finished the audio file and sent it over. We have the completed track now and with all of the segmented loops as well. That's our boy Standin' Chaos. You're right. That's Standy McStandin. Standy's got legs. But you know, he was like, all right, well, since you're doing an isometric view, we want like a really bold, really strong silhouette. That's why the head is so big. I also wanted to kind of play off and be a little bit different than like the monsters. And we gave him all the Kenny assets to look at. He's also going to be rigging and animating those for us, should he have time. But we already have a nice basic animation, which is super, super sick. So anyway, with that being said, let's do one more quick thing. I do have the full 2-minute audio file to listen to. And I'm just going to rock that on stream for all of you. And we'll take a listen to our punk rock. So take into account that when you hear the transitions, those transitions are actually built in a way too that we can slice them and just use those little 30, 20-second loops on repeat in certain areas, which I didn't even consider asking Chris to do, but he did it. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear it. I love this right there. Wee, and then it goes low. Ooh. And the guitars hit. This is kind of our beginning chaos. I like this little synth wave too. I've listened to this like 100 times, by the way, you all. It's so good.
It's just the new theme music for life.
Up, up, up. Here goes the riff. And then you got the breakdown. Now all the kids are in the pit.
I hope we're not out of sync like last time, where you're just like calling things out at the wrong time.
I kind of hope we are, to be completely honest.
It's funnier that way.
You start headbanging when the song is over. You're like,
I hope that like O Fortuna is actually playing, or Claire de Lune, and like everyone's looking at me like I'm a wild person. They're just like, this doesn't even have guitars in it.
Like,
this is Beethoven. Like,
listen to that sick beat.
Alright, so
like, to be fair.
This segment right here, by the way, this is like the boss fight or close to death. And like the synth, the way he got that synth tone. Oh. Alright, and this is the big cast. You got that big punk rock, like that nice quick gallop. And the big cymbal hit, and we're done. So that's the theme music, and then it just loops again. So we have like theme music, we have loops, we have the pieces. We just got to put it all together and successfully code. So I hope you all dig that. I was really excited to show you all kind of the artistic progress, because I know we've focused so much on code, but there is a creative element to this. We're just really programmers. So the great thing is I'm really excited to show you too, like now that we have all this code base and all this stuff implemented, we can start building out and swapping in and picking out art assets, you know, change some of the color scheme, get some lighting going, like really try to build like a really cohesive looking slice, right?
Yeah.
I feel
I
like...
think that's actually... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. Go finish your thought.
I think we are at one of those really interesting precipice moments in game design where we're going to go from like where it's feeling very prototypey, and the next time you see us, we're probably gonna have something that looks a lot more polished, because we're about to like fall over that into like, here's all the assets, it's just a matter of swapping, and but when you see the enemies, you'll understand where I'm coming from on that. So, sorry, it's up.
No, I was just about to literally say the same thing. I'm like, you know, it's like you're doing one thing, another thing, week by week, and then, you know, once you reach a tipping point, everything just comes together, and the joy you feel right at that point in time. I know, I said that on purpose, but the joy you feel at that time is truly worth it.
I like AIA's point in YouTube. Now we just can't let the artist and musician down, and that's exactly the way to nail it.
We won't.
Okay, so we've done that. I think next thing we want to do is spend a little bit of time talking over the code we've added last week. Last week we kind of rushed through it pretty quickly, so I apologize for that. We're gonna dial it back. We were at like 100 and we were at like a 50. We're gonna bring it back to like a 21. We're gonna slow ourselves down a little bit. So yeah, who wants to go first? Joy, it's off. Who wants to?
I could Bob Ross this.
Let's do it. Let's make some happy little codes.
All right, friends. We're going to start out by making sure that I can actually use Parsec. Can you see my happy little mouse on the screen? Oh. No!
Do we lose you in
supposed to
Parsec?
be happy.
Oh, I
I'm
need
Parsec.
to approve you. Hold on. I approved you, but I didn't give you mouse input.
Oh my God, Thomas.
All right.
Thomas.
Joy has keyboard. Joy has mouse.
There
you do
we
not have
go.
gameplay. There you go. All
Now
right, it's all you.
See my happy little mouse. So let's actually start out by kind of showing you guys what the enemies might have going on as I play around with the layout, and then I'm going to go over to the spawn manager because we've got percentages. So let's go ahead and just press our happy little play button. And look at the little zombos!
Oh, they're very cute, and they got their little basic Lego brick walk. Like I can't. Every time I see them walking, I feel like somebody's done stop motion animation on a Lego brick, like very stiff.
Let me just pause this because I want you guys to note that there is also a vampire in the house.
Vampire?
There's a vampire. There's also skellies. Actually, you know what? Should I full screen this? Is this wise?
I think it's time to full screen the game. I think we're ready. Play maximized.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it! So, our vampiros, they don't walk, they float. Because that's what vampires do. And look, there's the skelly! Look how slow the skelly's going. Because
he's
he
like-
be just bones. And the vampos are a little bit slow as well, where the zombos are really fast. So one thing that I did with the zombies is because the hierarchy of the characters are the same. Thomas, at the very beginning, you actually made a quick little animation for the skeleton. So I literally just applied that to the zombies, and it worked perfectly.
Nice.
And so
You
now
also
you see our characters. Yeah, go ahead.
you fixed that because I was having issue with that animation where I wasn't getting it to loop smoothly. You also fixed that, so thank you. Because I don't know why, but the day I made it, I simply couldn't. Oh, you gave him the clamps.
Clamps.
Okay,
I
that
I gave him
makes
the
sense.
clamps.
All
Yeah. So yeah, these are the three enemies. So I'll actually show you them up close and personal, but you can see that they're all there and they're all walking at different rates, and they're all extraordinarily cute because Kenny is so good at characters. Okay, so let's take a look at our enemies, and I also want to introduce a thought about this once I get to the script. But let's go to
No thought, only code.
no thought, only code. Let's check out
Is
our
code thought? Is thought code?
Code is being. Code is poetry.
Whoa.
Code is the feeling of the wind on a summer's night.
Wow, that's like haiku.
It's like, I think that's a really great example of what code is, because also you can get like dry lightning, and that also feels very much like code. So it's like, oh, this feels really nice, and then you randomly get electrocuted. Anyway. So, introducing enemy Skellington.
Yeah.
This is our dude. He's real cute. He does the walks. He's a slow guy. So I just continued to work with what we had from before. So you'll notice that he has fairly high HP. So I assigned our player 100 HP just because 100 is a big, nice round number that I could process mentally. So it's everything base 100 in my head. So our Skellington, because he's got them bones and food can fall through, attacking isn't as effective. So he's got fairly high HP. He's also got fairly high attack value. But remember, in the game, he's a slow moving buddy. He actually only moves at 0.5. So he's slow, he's easy to avoid, but man, if you do not get out of his way, you're gonna get a wallop. So you can die from 2 hits from a skeleton.
Bloop you.
Which is
So
pretty
you
real,
want to
pretty
avoid
real to life, right? Like,
oh yeah, Like every time you go into a dungeon, right? Like, you know, on your Saturday nights, you know, you find yourself in a dungeon, there's a skeleton, he's moving at like stop motion animation speed, but if you get up to him, he's gonna give you a wallop. I mean, this is just facts.
You know what I hate the most is when you go to pick up a pizza and a dungeon has actually disguised themselves as a pizza restaurant. That is
all the time.
I'm gonna go through the door. There's pizza over there. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And then there's skeletons.
And then you have to fight them to get your pizza.
There should be laws against disguising, you know, dungeons as pizza places. Like, I think that's a problem with our society, and we need to fix it.
I agree.
This is a movement we need to start. We need to start a change.org petition.
Also, that would be
pizza dungeons.
That would also be a super great game, actually. Think about a game we can make later where you have to like the opening part of it is you have to identify like different things on the front of these pizza places. And if you get and you can and the worse you are at identifying, the harder the dungeon is. No matter what happens, it's a dungeon you walk in. But if the one that looks most obviously like a dungeon is super easy, and the one that looks less like a dungeon is like harder. Anyway, let's talk about this game. So where else is your character?
Oh my god, write that down. Somebody write that down. But yeah, so this is Mr. Skeleton. He's great. Next up, new on the roster is Monsieur Vampire. And I actually need to lower his navigation stage. And actually it doesn't matter the height because we don't have ceilings and stuff. But either way, here is our vampire dude. He just does the floaty float. You'll notice that his HP is a bit lower, 20 points lower than our skeleton, and his attack value is also lower, so you could actually take 4 hits from a vampire before you're off seas. So that's really nice. And then he moves at a speed of 1. So he's still pretty slow, but he's faster than the skeletons. And because he floats, he actually gives the impression that he's much slower than he actually is, but that's how he gets you. And so you have to be really careful to be like, okay, I know where these vampires are, because otherwise they're going to take your energy, and that's not going to be good. Last but not least, introducing
vampire energy. Sorry, that's what your voice sounded like when you said that, and it just continue.
Introducing our old new enemy, our Zombo, in his new QB form. Here he is, in all of his cute little glory. He's using little walk animation that Thomas built. So he is our most common enemy, and I haven't talked about the percentage yet. I will get to that in a moment. But you'll notice that because they're appearing frequently, they have the lowest attack. They only have 20, so you can take 5 hits. Yeah, that's how math works. 5 hits from a Zombo before you get hit, hurt, dead. And then they're also very easy to kill. They've only got 20 HP, so like they can get out of the way real quick. So you can just go blasting around. But you got to be careful because these Zombos are pretty fast.
Wow,
they are going at 2.
I was play testing some tomorrow, and these Zombos were just on top of me all the time.
Like, they're trouble. You really gotta, like, be aware of the hordes coming. So it's very easy to get overwhelmed, as you do with zombies. So, you know, I think the behaviors are really good as far as that goes. So those are our characters. And now let's talk about appearance rate. So we've been very lucky in the stream in that we've had, like, a good variety of them show up. But, like, in a typical playthrough, like, I think when I was testing... I had to actually replace the spawns like 5 or 6 times before I saw something that wasn't a zombie. And then, well, maybe like a little bit of adjustment, like in my tests and also in my math. Basically what we have is, if I can have, I'm pulling up my notes so I can remember the numbers. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold tight. The percentages are zombies come in around 70% of the time, vampires around 25% of the time, and skeletons around 15% of the time.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good spread. And the way that it tends to be is that when you do have something other than zombies showing up, it's almost all, as a matter of fact, I've never seen 2 skeletons yet. Never seen 2 skeletons. And I actually don't think, maybe I saw 2 vampires once, but it's really like, these are more like the rare lone enemies that it's like, okay, I need to keep my eye on that one or maybe that 2 while you're dealing with zombie hordes.
Yeah.
So there we go. Those are the zombies. Now, I want to present something to y'all,
Okay.
and I will do that in talking about the script. So I'm going to very quickly go over the script here. So, actually, I'm going to go to our spawn manager and just like hop in that way.
Cool. While you're doing that, I had a thought
yes.
about skeletons. You said you've never had two skeletons. So would it be safe to assume that like there's actually all skeletons or actually only one skeleton because we've never seen them in the same room together?
Yes.
Like, they just teleport.
All of humanity's skeletons.
Or is it a banshee disguising itself as a skeleton and then cloning itself?
Ooh.
We need a Witcher. A Witcher will tell us.
There you go. We have a solution.
So I'm just going to scroll very quickly past this commented out section, but I just wanted to reference how this is happening. So the only thing that I actually changed in our spawn controller is actually right up here. So under spawned enemy, it used to be that you were instantiating a random enemy from the list.
Yes.
Instead, you are calling a new method. And there's actually an aspect of this that I will talk. There are two aspects. We'll get there. So this select enemy type, what we're doing is we are grabbing a random number, and then based on that random number, we're running a switch. And then right now, I'm explicitly calling positions in the list. I don't like doing that. I don't like anything explicit. So that's something that I would really be interested in figuring out like a better solution for. It works right now.
Yeah.
Oh, right. The break is just defaulting to Zombo. But here's the thing. I'm proposing a secret enemy. Because when I was playing with the characters, I noticed that there is a mesh that we haven't touched. And I was thinking, what if we had a 1% chance?
What's the enemy? What is it?
Yeah, I'm
Or should we just not say and just say yes to you? Like what's the gamble here?
Highlighting the text.
A ghost.
Oh.
Because
Can it be a cat ghost?
it's hold on. Brain. There we go. Because when I was going through the characters, I noticed if I get out of the prefabs and actually go to the models. Wait.
Are you thinking FBX? FBX.
Okay, I'm like, it was here, guys. I swear. There it is.
There it is.
Guys.
Look at that ghost.
This. Look at this gentleman. Look at him. Like, imagine 1% of the time there's just a ghost.
Wait, are we adding a boss?
I don't think for the vertical slice we're gonna add a boss fight.
Then my vote is yes.
But also, you know what we could do for the secret enemy? We could have a ghost and or a clown snake.
Yes.
No.
So
No.
The only thing I will allow is either a cat or a cat ghost.
Okay. Ooh, I like the Hunger Ghost reference. Folks are listening to some Hello from the Magic Tavern, it seems. All right, anyway, continue. Good podcast reference.
So one way or another, I just want you to know that there is a 1% chance part of this switch statement that we could use. So know it's there. You know, all we need is another enemy, and it could just appear 1% of the time.
Yeah, I think I'm down. I'm totally down.
I'm also down.
And Zenmasters actually brings up a really good point on YouTube chat. Can the ghosty guy go through walls? I mean, he's a ghost.
Maybe. Why not?
So yes.
Yeah. So
that sounds like a yes to me.
I also couple nice little code thoughts here. So Leroy Tavis and Twitch is saying, you know, you might want to consider moving the wait for seconds in the coroutine to be instantiated at the top of the coroutine to avoid the extra heap allocation. I think that's yeah.
Would that matter? Would the wait for seconds will do a heap allocation?
Well, so we have yield returning wait for seconds gap. So that's the opening because we're waiting to start the spawn. And then we're going down yeah, it's a good idea. We'll have to evaluate that a little bit more, but I like that idea a lot.
But you know what we can do? We can do a profiling session. That is something I'm very, very good at.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be an it's off play for sure. But I like the recommendation. Thank you. We can look into it a little bit more. And then what was the other part I was thinking of? I can't remember what else I was trying to figure out. But anyway, yeah, we should look into that. Super smart stuff from Leroy. Thank you. I saw another thing. Let's see. Someone radio form and return 0, switch 1, Boolean. Oh, not a bad way to do it too. I think contextually you're thinking, so instead of switching on, go back to your, we have a random number switch though. Is there a random
number? So this is a percentage generator rather than just like on or off.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's cool because like I actually did not remember how to do like a switch with a number range, so I had to look this up again, and it was fun to remember how to do this. So yay! I refreshed my switches.
Okay. So now, what other code do you have to show? Sorry, I'm not trying to derail. No. Apologies.
Like, here's the thing. Like, it was real easy. That was it. So I'm done with my review part. This is what I did this week. So somebody else take over. Because let me go ahead and minimize this so Unity can come back for y'all. But yeah, I got the fun job this week. So
all our jobs are fun. Hey, I can go next. I can go next. So I think last time we had some trouble with the input system, just kind of understanding how we do stuff. So there were some changes made, and I guess before I come here, let me walk you through what changes were made in the action.
Okay.
So if you look here, interact, the action type was changed to value and control type to any. Now, what we had previously was a button, or we were trying pass through for and hold interaction. Now the problem is the button action type means that you only get the callback, the actual event, when the button is pressed. But if you put it at value and any, then you can treat it like a button, and you can use value.isPressedBool as a way to reference whether the button was pressed or not, because you're essentially passing a value for the button instead of using it as a button itself. And I'll show you in code how that helps us a lot. So that's what we use. That's what I did for interact. I added a rotate option because once we have our characters with actual, our awesome characters built by Stefano, we want to make sure they rotate. So in order to rotate, you take, again, the action type is value, but in this time, the control type is axis, because we're only going to rotate on a single axis, right? And then for that, all I'm doing is a -1 to 1 value. -1 is left turn. And +1 is right turn, right? And I will kind of show you how that works out in the code. Then for toggle is still a button. I'm trying to use it creatively, where each time you press the button, it just kind of loops through each of the food type, and whether you have the ammo or not. If you don't have the ammo, we should just add a sound effect that gives feedback to the player that says, hey, ammo empty, you have to refill, and we can even add a text or something around that. Throw is the one thing I could not get to implementation, and we'll see if we have time today, either on the stream or after the stream. So anyway, I'm going to close this, and I'm not going to save this because I don't know what changes I made, and I'm going to go back into my player controller. All right. So what did we do here? So I think what we decided was, we were having kind of trouble understanding where do we want to put a lot of these actions and logic in terms of picking up food, adding to inventory, right? I think Joy and I figured out a pretty elegant solution, and I'll quickly walk through it. So I get a reference to stall behavior. I think some of you may remember that from last time. I've added some extra properties for rotate speed. We can change that. It's serialized field if we wanted to change that. Maybe we just want to test out and see what looks good. So it's more just for kind of testing and demo purposes. Then I added a new list called food types, and I was getting a null ref, and here's where I can fix this null ref. That null ref should hopefully be fixed.
Yeah, cool.
There we go. All right. Then I added active food type to throw as a string type. Now this is where I wish we created the dictionary with an enum so that switch statement would be easier. But I can kind of walk through and we can discuss further. And then we have rotate direction. And this is where the input comes in. So moving on, what I'm doing first is I'm using the actual dictionary and all the keys which represent the food type. I'm adding that to my list right here. And I'm going to delete this right here because I shouldn't be getting a null ref anymore.
Yep.
Okay. No changes to move. Now, do you see how simple the interact looks? So
yeah, that's much nicer.
So it took me, even though it's only 2 lines of code, it took me about 30 minutes to figure it out because I really had to dig through input value class, input action class, the actual value type, and things like that. But essentially is interactable, that is being set on trigger enter. So each time you enter the trigger for food stall, that's the only time this function can be called. And I'm passing a bool. So I made an update to this function joy, and it should be hopefully pretty straightforward. Go down here. Where is that function? So a bool is pressed, and I check, hey, if it's pressed, then we start the coroutine. But if it's false, we stop the coroutine. So we shouldn't need this function anymore. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this. And a single function and the whole cycle should be managed through that single function. And I'm also going to press save it, make sure everything's saved. Okay, what's next? On trigger enter. So what changes did I make in on trigger enter? So since we have display use instructions and all of that is handled through stall behavior, all we're doing is making sure that those are displayed when we enter the trigger, right? And then I get the inventory and pass it on to the stall behavior because we already got our inventory in the start function, right? Then I added another thing to stall behavior, which is get table ammo type, because I need to switch through these ammo types through a toggle. Mm-hmm. So going back to stall behavior, it was as simple as public ammo get table ammo type, and it returns a table ammo type, right? And then what I do with that is I get the food type from the ammo and I do a toString. And now we have our active food type to throw. So that means each time you go to a stall and pick up the food, that becomes the active food. So if you want to move to a different food stall, you have to kind of press 1 and toggle through that. The toggle logic isn't there yet. On trigger enter, literally nothing changes. All we're still, we stop displaying the use instructions and we set the is interactable default. Okay.
Yeah.
Now toggle. So this is what I couldn't finish last time, and so essentially I'm going to go through all food types, and I'm going to check if the food type is equal to active food type to throw, which means the food that you just picked up. If you're on the same food type, we just kind of go through the loop again because I'm not going to switch to your active food type. You already have the active food type, right? So there's going to be more code in here, which is where I'm going to create a switch statement and kind of cycle through, as long as the food type is not equal to active food type to throw, I'm going to change the active food type to the next food type. So I'm going to loop through each of the list items and just assign active food type to throw to this food type.
So can I ask a question on that? And yeah. I would love to. So looking at it like this, like in my mind, when I think of like just toggling through food types, why something like this instead of just having a list of the active food types and then just progressing what food type we're using through the list, and when we get to the end of the list, going back to the beginning, like a circular kind of rotation toggle? Does that make sense?
I feel like that's what I'm doing, but I guess so let me see if I can rephrase your question and if that makes sense. So I guess you're asking, hey, why do we need this extra field to keep track of, right?
Yeah, because, like why exactly? Because we could just, when they push the toggle button, it just goes to the next thing, no matter what they're on, right?
Yeah. So the way I was thinking about it, the reason we need this is because when it comes to throw functionality, I'm gonna have to use it from the object pool to do it, to get it from the dictionary and object pool and do it that way. And that's when I feel like this extra property is going to be helpful in identifying the right food type to throw to get the right object from the pool. Now, that may not be the case, and we may as well just be able to do it from the list, but I don't want to have to look up through a list every time I'm kind of changing. I
Totally.
know what my variable is. And again, that may not end up being the case because I did not, unfortunately, end up getting to that. And I added a few comments, and there were some outstanding questions I had. So we're going to add sounds and animations. Now, where do you think is the right place to trigger those animations? So I added some comments here where I say, hey, we need to add audio effects here. Maybe I didn't push those, but I say, hey, I add throw animation here, and then I will be easier to test.
Yeah.
So some of it's trigger pickup animation here. So my question is, where do you guys feel these animation triggers should go? Like this could start ammo pickup cycle, could trigger the animation. So that way I'm not kind of crowding this with an extra animation trigger, right?
Yeah.
Same could be true here. But at the same time, this is specific animation to the player and doesn't matter for the like stall behavior or other environments. So does that mean that it's better suited for player controller instead? So that was a couple of outstanding questions. Other than that, I feel pretty good about the rest of the stuff.
Joy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to put the player animations on the player controller. The other alternative is that we can create an animation class and just call them. But I mean, it's on the player, and they're kind of a limited number of animations, so I think it'd be just easy to do it from here. As far as audio, how do you guys feel about tying audio effects to the animations themselves via
like animation events?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do something like that and just have the audio manager play them. I think for for the character thing, that wouldn't be bad because the character could just have a child object that handles all of its audio, right? And then it connects there. For the actual projectiles, I was thinking that they would actually have an audio child as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just getting sent back to the pool. Yeah.
Yeah, specifically for the player, they're like footsteps and they're like picking up things.
I think for footsteps, we absolutely have to do animation events, I think, right? Because we want to be able to play it.
We don't have to. We could do it another way. It's just not a way I would ever recommend.
Yeah, it seems a lot easier. Just that I retract my have to. I would rather just when the exact frame their foot touches the ground, the sound do be playing. I don't want to manually or do code to calculate the frame timing
Okay, so I think we have alignment there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I added, and part of this is you're like, hey, why not just use rigid body velocity to do it? Because I think in our previous discussions, we talked about how if we use netcode, we're going to use, transform updates instead of using physics system to move the player controller. So even though I didn't change the move since we skipped the netcode part, I added rotate through a transform. So what you see here is I get the float value type for rotate direction, and then it's as simple as going into fixed update, and rotation is only on y-axis, right? So it's as simple as transform.rotate vector.up delta time into rotate speed into rotate direction, which is why I added rotate speed, just to kind of see if we want to play around with it, see what value feels good and whatnot. But it should be as simple as this. So my velocity is not going to be the thing that's going to control our player rotation when we turn. It's going to be transforms, this specific line of code. And I think that's basically all I did. It did take me a couple of hours just reading through a lot of documentation, because input system is I would love to talk to the input system team. I'm probably going to reach out to them at some point in the next few weeks.
I mean, I think there's a lot of context they can give you on how it flows. And hopefully what everybody kind of saw as we were diving in and tackling is we thought we knew this off the rip and everything was super easy. And then as we got deeper, we're like, there's actually more we need to figure out. So, I'm stoked that you spent the time to dig in, man. Thank you. I'm excited. And hopefully everybody can see the struggle we had last Friday and be like, wow, I learned a ton about how about how the input system functions. So I'm pretty excited.
That's how game dev is, though.
I also think the way, and I could be wrong, this is where I probably need more context, but I think the way new input system is set up, it's probably easier to use input for individual classes to kind of run their own logic rather than having a single kind of monolithic player controller, which I think is generally a better practice if your general number of interactions and interactable objects and things like that are massive in a game. So if you're building kind of a larger scale game, I do think it makes it a little easier once you just set up the actions and then use those actions in different classes to run logic.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
Thomas,
Well,
what'd you do?
So I had some meals. I drank coffee a couple times this week.
Good.
So I spent the week figuring out how we're going to handle object pooling. And what I thought would be really fun this week is instead of going in completely blind and just assuming, I did a bunch of research on different methods I could utilize to implement object pooling. And the cool thing is Unity actually has an object pooling API now. Like we have an object pooling functionality you can utilize that makes life kind of nice and easy. And so I researched that and got ready so that we could write object pooling today. So really thought about how I wanted to do it, how we could approach it. So I guess answer a question in the chat real quick for Hadi. Are we going to be doing multiplayer? The answer is not for this 8-episode stream because we realize that there's a lot more we need to do and we actually want to go more in depth with it. Are we going to add multiplayer? And maybe is there an opportunity for us to do another stream where we actually convert it to multiplayer to show you how you think about everything? Probably. Maybe. So keep tuned. We'll let you know. But we are definitely still on the multiplayer train. I have been doing... that's another thing I actually did this week, not for this stream, but I spent probably 6 to 8 hours diving really heavily into multiplayer for game objects, netcode for game objects, documentation, figuring out the different components, the samples we have available, how to do server RPCs and also client RPCs. I also spent quite a bit of time looking through like a lot of the advocacy presentations on how they present it. I watched so many YouTube videos from like Dilmer and Code Monkey and like, yeah, so I'm excited. We're ready, but in the 8 total episodes we're trying to do, if we want to have like a really nice vertical slice and we want to also have a playtest session and get all that feedback to integrate, we just don't have time. And I agree, multiplayer does hurt, but it's actually, once you understand it, it's not as bad as you think. I'm going to say that, especially with netcode for game objects. So the one thing, and I'll stop this rant after, the one thing that I think makes it complicated is if everything you're doing is server authoritative. For those who know what that means, it means the server makes all the decisions. You have to try to predict where your player is going to be based on latency. And that's where it gets tricky because you have to tell the server, Joe Dog, I move in here. And then the server goes, I bet, and sends it back. And then you can move, right? But there's a connection latency depending on distance, right? And so then you have to kind of look at it and be like, how long do I think it will take me? And then you kind of guess to like sync those two states. But if you let your movement be client authoritative, which is what we're going to do, then the client will basically say, hey, server, I'm over here. And their server goes, okay, cool, I'll tell everybody. And then you get a lot more smoother movement, or schmovement, as we say in the fighting game community. So anyway, I can tell you, we could go ranting about it. But yes, I still want to do netcode. I feel way more equipped. I think all of us are way more equipped to tackle it. Maybe another stream series. We'll see. Stay tuned. Should we write some object pools? Should we pull some objects?
Let's
Should we
do it.
Cool.
So
it's a pool party.
It's a pool party.
Pool party.
Y'all like that Aquabat song? Pool party. It was a pool party. Cool pool party. La 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 la. Anyway, all right. So RPC calls nightmare. They're not as bad. It's not as bad as it could be, but there's definitely stuff we gotta think about. Okay, so let's start off by talking about that Unity has a scripting API for pooling. Ba-ba! So we're gonna go look right here. It's under unityengine.pool. Great, it's named appropriately. Remember, this pool is not full of water and or sharks. It's full of
what about floaters?
Objects. Definitely floaties. No, this pool do be having floaties.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, every pool has sharks in it at night.
Yes.
Let's be clear. Like, it's always
are you
gonna have
scared of
in it.
sharks, Joy? Because like, are sharks your clowns?
Is it? No. So I'm not afraid. I'm aware of a predator. I am not at the top of the food chain in the ocean.
Fair. So
right, let's take a look at the editor here.
speaking of being aware of food chains, we're aware of what the RPC stuff looks like. So if we jump over to the documentation so y'all can see this, so we have a bunch of different types of pools available to us, right? So we can take a quick gander And I got a message. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. So we take a quick gander here. So we have unit.pool with our classes. So we have we can do like a collection pool, a dictionary pool, generic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I experimented specifically with just using an object pool. You can see that it takes in like a generic, right? So you can take in an object pool is I know, but it's really not as bad. We just need more time. Okay, so you can just use an object pool of any kind of type you want, right? So if we look at the example here, they're basically we make an iObject pool of type particle system. It's called the pool, and then we can like instantiate, not exstantiate. Can we start instead of destroying stuff? Can we call it exstantiate?
He's been exstantiated.
I've been we have exstantiated.
What about exterminated?
Oh, that's a little bit too much Doctor Who, maybe. Like that's kind of scary.
Exterminate.
I love me a little trash can with a laser gun. Okay, so anyway, so you make your object pool and then you create it, and then essentially when you create the pool, so this one is using two different types, right? So you can do like a stack or a linked. We're just gonna use a stack pool for this example, I think is what I kind of came up with. So I'm like, I just want to use a stack pool. It seemed easiest. But basically you provide all of these events or these actions that are going to happen when these different things happen. So you tell it what happens when we make a pooled item, what happens when we take from the pool, what happens when we return to the pool, what happens when a pooled object is destroyed. Are we doing collection checks? That basically is like, hey, are we actually going to reach back and say, I want to return this item to the pool, or I want to take, is this object already in the pool or not? Like, am I already trying to return something that's already there? And then I'm trying, so we have our maximum pool size, how many objects can be in the pool. And then I'm sure, and honestly, like, what does this number 10 mean? That's the only thing I want to know in this little, like, we can go jump it a little further into the documentation. But there's a number inside here that I'm like, what? That's the interface. I don't want to look at that. Like this number 10, I think might be min pool size.
Can we look at the actual method documentation by any chance? No.
I don't see any other documentation on what that number is.
Visual Studio. It'll tell.
Oh yeah, Visual Studio. That's actually a really good way to do that. We'll do that. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. We're gonna create the pool. We're gonna fill in all these methods, and then from there, that will set our pool up. The other thing we do need to do to make this pool as good as or the way we want it to, on create. Or get, excuse me. So there's a on take from pool, right? That's your get object from pool method. When our pooling implementation reaches into the pool, if there's not an object to grab, it instantiates one, right?
Right.
So the purpose of a pool, in my opinion, and the geniuses in chat can actually correct me if you think I'm wrong, but is that we have all these objects pre-built and we can just grab them and then return them. Aha, weekend knows 10 is the initial pool size. Thank you. That's what I thought, but...
Yeah, because the reason that makes sense is because you're only doing a stack check there. Otherwise, you're just creating it and you're not putting that in.
Okay. So basically the idea here is like the initial pool doesn't have anything in it. There's nothing in the pool, right? And so we want to be able to reach in and reach out of the pool. And so we need to add objects to the pool. Otherwise, for the first part of the game running, every time we call get, it won't have an object until it's had enough, and then it'll instantiate. So we're still instantiating stuff, and the purpose of a pool is to instantiate it up front and then put it in the pool, right? And then we can just grab it and avoid all the instantiation and destruction. That was a long way to say we're gonna make sure we do that initially.
So has the word pool lost all meaning to you guys too?
It has. I don't even have a pool, man. I would love a swimming pool. It's getting hot. I want to just float in the water.
Well, we could float in the virtual water in Unity.
Let's float in our virtual waters.
It is summer, so I understand.
Okay, so now let's make sure this is working. I believe I am parsecing. What's the button I pushed to make it was F11? To get rid of the little winder there?
Yeah, that's F11.
F11? All right, well, parsec says nah, so sorry, y'all, that's what we're doing. Okay, so I am parsecing into my own computer, which is confusing, but I'm doing it, and we're here, we're good. So the first thing, I think we can put this inside our mono behaviors, and I'll just make a folder called pools, you think?
Yeah.
Or that's that cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And the way I figure we can build this out is we could basically just take an object, like we'll just make a pool behavior that we can attach to anything we want to be a pooled thing, right? So we'll make a weapon pool controller, we'll make an enemy pool controller, and then once all that's done, all we have to do to implement it is we'll basically, instead of instantiating an enemy, we'll just grab the certain enemy we want from the pool of enemies, right? So we just have to point at the right pool and away we go.
Yep.
All right, so let's create a C# script, and we're gonna call this we just call it pooled object? Does that make sense? How do we want to name
That
it?
works
What's a
for
good
me.
name?
This is what is this for specific ammo type
This is-
only?
No,
Or
this is for enemy. It's going to be all of our pooled stuff. I
okay.
figured we just make like a relatively generic thing, not an
Okay.
actual generic,
Yeah.
but like
Then I
that we
think
can
that
just pull
name
stuff.
Yeah, I think then that name makes sense. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Oh man, we can pull stuff from the pool. We're gonna have to be very explicit in the way that we say our words.
Yes, and we got to make sure that we don't actually grab a floaty instead of an enemy. One or just a couple quick questions in the chat. Someone says, "Is UGS competitive now compared to Photon, Pun2, or Fusion?" Full disclosure, don't work on that crew. I've worked with some of those products. I think they're great. I think they have a lot of good competitive advantages, but I couldn't like give you a line for line why. But I think UGS is dope, and I also think Photon's really dope. So, other question: can you create a server instance of the game made with Unity networking library and deploy it to Microsoft Azure or Amazon servers? Yes! Unity multiplayer services are service agnostic. You can use Unity Transport. You can use Azure, Amazon, GCP, your own Raspberry Pi sitting in your closet under a pile of blankets.
That's very specific, Tom.
That's the only way that Raspberry Pis function correctly is if they're under 3 blankets. I don't know if
Oh,
y'all
I
knew
see.
that. It's in the documentation. I'm kidding.
See,
Apologies to Raspberry
that's the
Pi. That's not true.
problem.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch in my closet and they never work. You know, I thought it was because I wasn't using them, but apparently it's because I don't have blankets on them.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Hashtag
it.
not true, not factual, do not believe us. Love Raspberry
Yeah,
Pis.
please. Yeah, please note that we're all big fans of all these things, and sometimes we try to be funny, and we're not always funny. All right, so let's write us a pooled object now that we're done making dumb jokes. And y'all are gonna have to help guide me on this because I already forgot what I'm doing because now we're live coding. So let's go back to the documentation again, which I thought I hid from myself, but now I can't find it. There it is. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to make a pooled object, and we need to make sure we're using. So using Unity Engine. Oh my gosh. Pool. Ta-da! Now we have access to the pool stuff. Yay! It's still going to be a mono behavior. And then we can just basically set up a... And I don't think this needs to be public. I think we want to keep this private, right? And we'll probably write a sitter and gator for this thing.
The classic sitter and gators, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes
It's the cousin to the clown snake, the sitter gator.
Oh my
Sitter
god,
gator.
stop with the clowns. No more clowns.
All right, so for now, we're going to do serialized field. Oh my goodness, my keyboard got stuck. All right, serialized
Do you need to
field.
serialize it? Do we care about looking at it? I guess we do.
Nah, not
Well,
only
wait,
so that
'cause how
people
are we
can
gonna
see
add?
it. We actually don't need to serialize it at all.
Yeah.
Well, wait, how are we going to add in the objects then?
Well,
Are we
those
just gonna-
objects we'll need to serialize. Yeah, but the actual pool we don't need to.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
what am I thinking?
So,
Parts.
okay, so we'll make an I object pool of type game objects. And we'll name it pooled object. Cool. Actually, let's call it object, just so we know. Let's call it object to pool. Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the start there. And then we need, when the game starts, we basically just need to, actually, let's do it on, should we do awake or on enable? Let's do on enable.
Yep.
So when the object is enabled, we want it to, do we even need to make the pool? Do we even need to instantiate the pool? The pool might self do that. I'm just looking at documentation. Pool, ID object, public, pool. Oh, no, it does, this documentation is doing it differently, so we need to. So this is where we're actually going to create the pool. So we're going to say object. Oh my gosh, you know what? No, I am misnaming stuff already. So this needs to be pooled. This needs to be this is our object pool. This is the actual pool.
Co-host
Then-
sighting.
Say what?
Co-host sighting. There he's gone. He's gone now.
Who am I citing? What's going on?
Oh, Pen came by.
Oh, gotcha. I'm too focused
He
on code.
actually he wanted to help you start coding, so I had to very quickly lift him from the keyboard.
This is object to pool. So this is going to be our game object. That's our object to pool. So this will be the item that that's going to be pooled based on this pool creator. That's what I wanted to do here, right? So we have, this is our pool. This is the object that do be pooling. And that's how we kind of set this up.
It do be pooling though.
So in on enable, which I have just added all these spaces, which I'm going to do. All All right, so in on enable, we're basically going to say object pool equals new object pool of type game object. And then we need to give it, and I'm not going to type these, I'm actually just going to steal them from the documentation because we're going to use the same words. And their words are just as good as our words. So we're going to drop all of this in here.
Yeah, but I would love to see kind of what overloaded functions, what arguments and stuff we can
Oh,
pass.
sure. Should we...
I think there's a shortcut for that. If you just like go to the first argument and click it, I don't know what the
Yeah, the drop down should appear. Yeah, and then it should.
Hold on, I might need to do a different. No, it's new.
Oh, it's okay. We can come back to it.
Yeah, and I'm just confirming. There's my dogs. They say hello.
Other co-hosts.
Other
Yay!
co-hosts, but these ones bark. Object pool, new object pool. I'm just verifying how I call this instantiator because I'm not actually going to call a type of new object pool. I think it's actually a new object pool. Yeah, it's actually that. Okay, cool. So we're going to make, here we go. Now we can see what this is. So does this make sense to you, what we're seeing here? So we have this like object pool and we can do system.action, action on get, action on release, action on destroy, collection check, which is a Boolean yes or no, default capacity. Thank you to the folks that already went for this. And then int max size, right? And right now the default max size is 10,000. I think for us, we can actually say what the max size is because we know kind of where we're going to be sitting, right?
And this is for the type we're making, which is a stack, right?
Yes, this is a stack.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to be more transparent here. When it comes to like why we should use a stack versus a list or a linked list and all the other stuff, that is not a world I'm super specialized in, and I think the stack works well for our purposes.
Yeah,
but we can always change that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we actually need to create all of these functions, right? So basically, if you look here, if I do... You'll know that should, I believe... It didn't override this. What am I think I have to override some stuff. Let's go look here. Do. Oh, yeah. So it needs to return. This one needs to return a type of game. Needs to return a game object. So
we would auto gen thing. Make it easy on yourself.
Teach me to auto gen.
Okay, go up to where you declared your new methods. Oh wait.
Right
scroll. Do the scroll, and then if you I think it's right clicking on the take from pool,
Okay.
Or maybe click. Do the droppy down. Yeah, quick actions refactoring. It should be like, hey, do you want me to make a... Yeah.
Yep.
Yo, okay, y'all are... So we're just going to do this. We're actually just going to generate all these methods really quick, right? Boop. Boop.
I've only recently started doing this, but it's so
really
nice.
Convenient.
Yeah, this is really nice. Generate field pooled object.collection check. So this one we're actually... going to make our own variable for, so we can skip that.
Yep.
Actually, I'm just going to go...
I mean, you can just generate it, right?
I'm just going to tell it it's true. Like, we want collection checks, so true.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is also a field we're going to make, right? So we're just going to basically say... int max object pool size. Mm-hmm. And we'll start that at 50. And then we can fudge with that as we want, so... Oh my gosh, y'all. There we go. And then get rid of the space. The one thing about this, and this is like the dumbest thing ever, but because we're streaming this, it makes me sad at how long this call is.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can just enter new line somewhere if you want,
Yeah.
I think. Just
But then my brain will be like super annoyed about how it's not just a straight line and the commas. Like, this is my own personal problem.
I actually prefer it to put new lines on long lines because I do not like looking at long lines in code.
All right, let's do. So you're saying something like that is what you're thinking? How's that?
Yep. That looked good. That's great.
Okay. So, thank you, Jason. Hitting us with the Offspring reference. So Paige was asking, why are we doing in on enable instead of in start? I like on enable.
Yeah.
I'm actually now I want to ask a question because on enable gets called anytime the object is turned off and turned back on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do we run a risk of recreating this object pool every time that happens?
Well, you can just add a check. If it's already there, then don't create it, right?
Oh, yeah. So we can just do if object pool.
At the
Is there
same
a
time,
risk of this actually being turned off at any point?
No, it never will.
I mean, it's still good to have a null check, right? Or just.
Oh, sure, but what I'm saying is like, I also tend to go towards on enable if there's even a vague chance of this happening, but I think in this case it largely doesn't matter, and it's about what makes you feel good in your heart.
You must be true to your heart. It's where the heavens will start. True to your heart. Anyway, so we got object pool, we got this, so this is there ready. Now we have all of our nice new setup things. Except for create pooled object does not return a game object, so we just need to do like that type of stuff here. So we can set that up.
Also, is it named incorrectly? Should it say create pooled object instead of item?
It should not, because we could change it to say that if you would rather have it say that.
Oh no!
So
no,
we could.
okay. I just misread it. I just misread it.
yeah.
I read object there for some reason.
Oh, no problem. we are using object and item kind of interchangeably at this point.
Maybe
so
we
now,
should change it to object just for consistency. Actually, now that I think about it, how do you feel about that?
I think to keep our naming consistent, I think actually object is the answer.
Yeah. So let's do that just for consistency, because I don't think it actually matters. But
no, but I think just for our sanity.
Yeah.
Oh, it's yeah.
And yes, this is still the food-based game dev project on GitHub. I have not pushed any of the code changes that What's Up Enjoy did for the last week. I will push those immediately after today's session once I have finished our work. So, and then I still have not reviewed the pull request. I will, I promise. Someone asking if you care about an RTX 4080. I use a 4070. I think it's pretty great.
I have a
good graphics card.
It works.
I don't want to talk about what kind of graphics card I have right now.
All right, fair. But yeah, it works. And for game dev, especially, like, honestly, like, if you have like a 1080 or better, you're probably fine.
Yeah, unless you're doing like HDRP or ray tracing. Ooh.
Yeah, then you've got to really think about it. Okay.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is that don't feel pressured to get like top of the line stuff. You could stretch old stuff. So you know what? I have a RTX 980. It's very old.
I used my 970 for 10 years. I love it. Anyway, I still have it sitting in a box next to me. All right. We digress. Let's make some stuff. So basically now what happens is when we call get, so when we say pooled object dot get, right? It's going to look at the pool. And if the pool has no object to get, it's going to create a pooled object, right? So we need to handle this first. So for me, I feel like we're going to go var pooled object equals instantiate as game object, and then we do our object to pool, right? And that's pretty much what it'll do, and then we'll just return pooled object. And honestly, we could just return that statement, but I want to do this just to have some pool. So then we just return the pooled object and we're done.
Yay.
So now when we call object.get, it's going to just simply create the object. You can control R plus R to rename all instances. Stefan, we're best friends now. I want you to know that. That's amazing. Okay, so we got this set up here. This is looking good. What else do we need to do now? This is there, this is there, this is there. So let's just do something to test this. I think I kind of want everyone to see how this works. Mainly because I spent like a bunch of time working on it. So we're going to create the object pool, and then we're going to go here and we're going to say, actually, let's write a function called and this will be public. It'll return nothing, and we'll call it init object pool. And then it will basically, I think we should pass in, actually, we don't even need to, because we have a pool, a match object pool size right here. And so I'm literally just going to say for int I equals 0. I is less than max object pool size. I plus plus, right? We're just going to for loop this thing. And we're going to say object pool dot get. It's that. We're just going to call object pool.get. So what's going to happen? It's going to reach into the pool. It's going to be like, yo, where's my pooled object? Pooled object's going to be like, you ain't got one. Then it's going to create it, right? So theoretically, if we attach this to something, it should create 50 objects. Let's see what we get. So inside the hierarchy, I think, like, Joy, you and I talked about this. You want a clean hierarchy. So
I feel very strong.
this. What should we pull first? Should we pull a weapon? Should we pull like hot dogs?
Yeah.
Let's pull some dogs.
All right, so we're gonna call this the hot dog pool.
The hot dog pool.
And
Yeah.
Definitely floaters.
Everybody jump
Let's-
in.
Everybody jump in. We pooling dogs. All right, so we'll go to our prefabs, food, and we got. Do we have a hot dog prefab?
We do. Those are the
The ammo? Okay.
Yeah, where's our there it is. Look at him.
Okay, cool. So we'll just drag the hot dog ammo into our slot and assign it.
That's a good looking dog.
It is. I honestly, I've had a handful. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I will comment this. And actually, I'm going to comment this heavily because I feel like if folks want to use this as a reference, you're going to want to know why we made the decisions we did. Also, I've had a handful of peanuts to eat today, so that hot dog looks delicious.
I actually, it's getting to be, picnic weather. So looking forward to some hot dogs.
Okay,
Let's see the dogs. Oh, we're in play maximized. So.
Well, I hit pause. I don't
Where
see any
are our
objects.
dogs?
I don't see
Where's
no
our
dogs. And I think that's because I forgot to actually call our function that we wrote.
Oh,
Um,
I can't
I'm
tell you
actually-
how often I do that. Like,
Mhm.
especially when it's a big brain moment and I'm really like, okay, working my way through this method. All right, it's done. Why is it working? Why isn't it working? Oh, right.
yeah, look at that.
I have
We never
not
called
this
it.
anywhere.
Yep. So init. Maybe if we do that. Okay.
I don't see how that could have anything to do with anything. How
Nah,
could
you
calling a method do anything about calling a method?
Ain't no one calling functions. All right, let's hit play. And then we'll go back to the scene. We'll pause it, which would take us back to scene view. All right, I don't see any no reference exceptions. That's good news.
Very good news.
And
Very good.
I see one hot dog ammo clone. And
Do we
why
wanna
not 50?
parent it?
Well, that's just got it sauce and sausage. So we're only creating one right now. So yeah, so how do accounting gets it? Forgetting to assign my new shiny script. I do that a lot as well, where like you forget. So let's go look here. Max object pool size is 50. That's there. We're saying to get it 50 times. We're only getting one.
All right, let's go and look at the code and see what.
Init object pool for in IMS less match object pool. So I plus object pool dot get.
Where do you ask it to do it 50 times?
This for loop right here
Yeah, max object pool size. That should be thrown 50.
is 50. And then there's that, but it's only getting one object, even though it's supposed to get it 50 times.
You can put a debug statement in the for loop.
Yeah, it's weird because it's happening once. Well, actually, is it happening somewhere else? It's up is right. Put it in a debug and let's see
Yeah.
what do be going on.
And I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I could look at some. If we get really stuck, I have code I've written that I know works. So
See, this
We
is
have-
a prep session. We're not gonna
This is a
struggle
prep
again on
session.
stream. Goddammit!
no
The
live
dissonance-
struggles.
The dissonance that sometimes happens in making this game, because like we're talking about hot dogs and you debugged getting weapons, so I'm like, wait.
Oh,
that's
sorry,
right.
yeah.
That's
All
Is
right,
hot
so
dog a
weapon.
weapon? Has it always been a weapon? Is it a weapon in real life? Who knows?
Are sandwiches weapons?
Yes, they are.
Okay, are we gonna have to have the conversation about what kind of food a hot dog is? Because I'm team taco.
No, hot dog is a sandwich.
It's a taco though.
All right, so
No.
we're getting an exception
I
on take.
refuse.
Oh. All right, so on take from pool doesn't do anything.
Oh, whoops. But it's there. It's
But do we
physically
want
there.
it to
That's
do?
good enough, right?
Do we want it to do anything? Because we're not asking anybody to take anything from the pool. Nobody's actually calling the pool, right? Like,
But I think that's why we're getting the issue. Debug.log. I have a dog. I have dog. I think we just it is interesting to say on take from pools and implemented because is it just because it's throwing a new is it just because
Oh.
it's throwing an exception?
Yeah, get rid of that line. We don't need that. That's just like what happens when you create a
Yeah, that's our
yeah.
issue. Okay,
That-
good
that's
call.
literally- yeah.
It's doing what it's supposed to. It's throwing an exception.
Yeah.
But we don't
we
actually want that.
We don't want no exceptions over here.
We don't need no stinking exceptions. All right, so let's
we
let's
don't
recompile
need-
this.
Anyway.
We don't need no code exceptions. Ba-na-na-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun,
That's the
dun.
vibe I'm feeling right now.
All right, let's see
That's
how it
my
works
vibe.
now. All right, we pause. Did you make I have dog 50 times? Oh, look at all those dogs. All right, so that was it. We were throwing an exception.
Dog. Yeah.
Okay, so we have 50 hot dogs. Like, it's that easy. Right now we have 50 hot dog clones. They all exist. They have their own clones instances. I don't know why I said
It's
their own so many
just that
times.
Easy.
It's it's relatively straightforward, right? And take into account we're not implementing our own put together architecture of pooling. We're just using the Unity API that we have available. So that's cool. All right.
Now, question for you, and not a big deal if we want to do this after the fact, but is there a way to group this under the pool? So
There
all
is.
of our hot dogs. Ooh, yay! Organization.
There is
Yes,
absolutely a way. So
yes.
I'm going to so the first thing we want to do is when something is taken from pool, the only thing we really want to do is do obj.setActive true. Right? So I'm going to put that in really quick. And the reason we're doing that is I'll get rid of this debug. So the reason we're doing that is that way when it gets taken from the pool, it gets set active, right? And when we put it back to the pool, what do? We turn it off.
Turn it off.
And that's pretty much it. Oh, I like this. So Howdy asking, if you have more objects from the pool size, do they get removed and recycled? They get destroyed. So that is actually what this on destroy pooled object is that's the object. If it's over the count we assign it, it will be destroyed. Because it is it is absolutely possible for you to be, because anytime you pull objects you need, right, there might be a situation in your game where you need 60 objects running simultaneously and you only have 50 available, so it'll create 10 more. But then when you try to remove or return all 60 to the pool, it's going to destroy that additional 10. So this max pool size controls that. It is so much better than I could write. Like going through this documentation, I'm like, oh, that's right. We have engineers that are way smarter than me. This is great. Okay, so in create pooled object, right? We just want to do var pooled object equals instantiate. So what we could really do is we already have our pooling thing, and we're setting this on the pooling object, right? So all we have to do is go pooled object dot transform dot parent equals transform, right?
Love it. Love it.
And so if we do that,
Can you use a
theoretically,
set parent instead? I don't know what the difference is.
I think
don't
so. I
even
think
know.
I think equal is set parent.
Okay. I don't know what the difference is. Just wondering. I'm like, is there a difference between the two?
We're about to find out.
Okay, hot dog pool. Oh, look at that.
Woo! Organization.
And look at that. They're all active because they've been taken. So here's the problem now. These hot dogs have a very specific set of skills. And
Okay,
Go on.
I'm very curious where this is going.
and they will show up in the scene and they will be active. But when we first initialize them at runtime, when we first run our game, we spawn them all, we actually want them to be inactive. Do we all agree on that?
Wow.
Yes.
So we need to change their skill set to be inactive. And so if somebody thinks of a more elegant way, tell me, but this is how I came up with how I want to do it. So we're going to make a list.
Also, when you
Can
said
you
these
not-
hot dogs have a very specific set of skills, I'm just assuming that they're going to be able to rescue people who have been kidnapped.
Yes.
Is that what the? Yeah. Okay.
Can you just do a set active false when you instantiate?
You could do a set. You could do a set active false. But, so what I mean by they're not active, they've been taken from the pool, so they are currently not in the pool. Does that make sense? Sorry, I should have explained that better. So they are not active, or they are active because they are not taken. They are actually out of the pool. They are instantiated in the game, and they have been taken because we've called on take from pool. They have not been returned to the pool, so the pool is currently empty.
Okay.
So that means every time we call get, it will instantiate another object because the pool is empty. Does that make sense? So we need to create them all and then return them all to the pool.
Yeah.
Okay, but why can't we do the set active with instantiate though? Because those would be different. Are we talking about just literally having the object active or inactive in
No,
the
sorry.
hierarchy, or
We're
are we
specifically talking about the object being in the pool or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
confused.
And since when it's returned to the pool, we already set it to inactive. We don't need to worry about that. Once it goes back to the pool, it'll be inactive. Sorry, I explained that very poorly. Thank you for questioning. So all we need to do now is return this to the pool. But the issue is if we tell it object pool.get and then object pool.release, what'll happen is it'll get it, it'll create it, it'll send it back to the pool, and then it'll go to the next iteration and it'll grab that same object out of the pool. And it'll just bounce the object in and out of the pool 50 times, right? Because the order of operations here is we look in the pool, if an object exists, we grab it and we take it from the pool to use it, and then we don't need to create anything, right? But we specifically want to get our object pool to create 50 objects, which is why we're just calling get. So what we need to do inside the create pooled objects, is it in the create pooled objects we did this to? It is the create pooled objects. I just want to add it to the list. So basically we need to instantiate this list. So initial objects equals new list of game objects. Oh my gosh.
Doesn't it autocorrect that?
It might, but I'm not very good at autocorrecting. Yeah, exactly. HowDoCannon gets it. Like, so we need to basically put all this in a list, and then just iterate through the list and release everything on our init. Does that make sense? To put it back in the pool.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, I can show you why if you want to see. So if we go debug.log, we can actually say object pool.active count inactive, and that returns how many objects are in the pool. So right now, count inactive is going to be.
Would it be 0?
This will be 0.
Yeah.
And then if we go debug.log object pool.count active,
that should be 50.
That should be 50. I think I do a count. Oh my. Whoops. Sorry, y'all. I accidentally hit a shortcut and broke the internet.
Oh no.
I think we're good. I think we're back.
The entirety of the internet. How could you?
I guess we can only count inactive. So is there a pool size? Yeah. So we can only count inactive. So you'll see that count inactive should actually be 0 because they're all considered to be a part of the pool. Let me just demonstrate that really fast.
Yeah. I mean, you can always do a max pool size minus count inactive if you wanted to show the active count.
Exactly.
But,
yep.
But who wants to do that?
My name is Utsav and I'm good at math.
I am
you're
good
right,
at math, actually.
You are very good at math. That's why I said it. Yeah, so notice our pool is empty. 0 in the pool. We got this beautiful pool. We got no water, and we got no friends. So we got to fix that.
We gotta fix that.
All right. So to do that, we're gonna go back to our pooled object script. And so all we need to do here is basically after that, we just need to add this. I think we should do it inside of our create pool object. So we can set the parent, and then we can say also say initial objects.add, and then we'll just say pooled object. So this is going to actually add it's just going to populate our list, right? And then all we have to do is we'll run through all this, and then we'll just do for each game objects go in initial objects. Pool object pool dot release go. That's it. So someone asking why would we set our object why would we not set active to false when we get it? So I think we're missing a step here, right? Because setting it to inactive does not return it to the pool. So setting the object to inactive just sets it to inactive. So when an object is taken from the pool, we want to set it to active, which is why we have our on return to pool, or our on take from pool set active is true, on return to pool set active is false. So when we return an object to the pool, this fires, this happens. Just setting an object to inactive doesn't return it to the pool in the use of the Unity API, in the use of this specific pooling API, right? That's why.
Shouldn't we also do a set active to false when we create the object? And I don't mean taking from the pool and using them. I mean literally just the visual objects that are in the pool.
I don't think
They're not
we'll
going to be seen, though.
Yeah, you're not going to see them. Like, watch. So I've got this instantiated. Let's just watch it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so we have 50 objects now, right? So if we go look, now we have our hot dog pool, and we have 50 objects available in the pool. And if we go look at our console, I think I forgot to debug log that, but now they're all back in the pool.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
No.
I see.
And then Skagator asking, but you're adding it to the pooled object, to the pool and create pooled object, right? I'm not. So when we create the pooled, so when you create a pooled object, it's only being called if you reach into the pool to get something and there's nothing there. So it's not getting added to the pool, it's being taken from the pool. So it's being added to the pool and then taken, and then we need to release it back to the pool. I know it's kind of a weird journey to take, but we got to send it back to the pool.
This is really just the initialization process.
Yeah, we're just initializing.
Yeah.
But now we have a pool size of 50 objects, and they're all there waiting for us in the pool. And we'll have 50 inactive objects. So I guess, yes, technically it's in the pool, but it's not tagged as available to utilize. So we'll continue to create stuff when we reach into it, is basically how I discovered this works. And there's probably somebody that wrote this pool functionality being like, he's kind of right, but also. But this is how I got it working. So now we have our pool. And then basically, we just need to, in our instantiation stuff, like when we're trying to create stuff, we just need to tell it to call... pre-warm. Thank you, Hadokana. We're pre-warming our pool. So now we've got this all figured out. This is pretty much the pooling setup. And then we just need to decide what happens when it's destroyed. I figure we just don't do anything when it's destroyed, right? It's dead. So we could do a debug if we want. But we really don't need anything here.
We can instantiate it.
We can instantiate it, exactly. When it's instantiated, we get rid of it. So this is really, so then the only things we really need to do is on take from pool and on return to pool. I feel like basically it just needs to set itself to a specific position. So we could have the pool handle that, or honestly, we could have the object that pulls it, does it.
Which is going to be the player. So maybe the player sets it, the transform for the object it takes from the pool.
Yep. So it just grabs the object from the pool, and then it sets all the positioning in the attack or in wherever, right? Because when you call the attack, it'll snap it to that thing. It'll shoot forward. So this is pretty much our pooled behavior. Like I think it's done.
Yay!
Ooh, look at that optimizations.
So now we just got to do this for everything.
Well, but here's the thing: we wrote this one thing, right? So what I was thinking,
I know.
Yeah. You just create the objects, put the scripts on them, and then...
should we pull some other... I mean, it's 12:30. We've got some... Well, 12:30 my time. It's 2:30 Eastern. We've got some time. Should we pull some more objos? Some more objos?
Objos?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that term.
Objos?
Endearing. It's endearing.
Does one of you want to drive, since I just, talked for, 35, 40 minutes? Or do you want me to drive still?
This is the Tom show now. Everybody just watch this.
Y'all drive. Let's just...
Listen, it's always been the Tom show.
Let me, can you all see my...
I see you, you're moving. You're moving.
Okay, so this is where we see if I have learned. So we've got this hot dog pool, and it looks pretty awesome. So I'm gonna make, we definitely need to clean up our hierarchy.
Yeah, our hierarchy's really messy.
But, There we go. Yep. And let's do, taco pool, just because that was the thing that popped in my head. And then we are going to go boink, and then we're going to select the object to pool, and this is also very necessary. Sound effects, like when you're building stuff, you have to.
Yeah, that extra layer of immersion.
Okay, so taco pool. Everybody jump into the taco pool. Is that it? Did I do it?
You did it. Now if you hit play, we should have a pool of 50 tacos.
Wow. Now I want to be in a pool of 50 tacos because I'm hungry. Imagine
what a weekend that would be. You just wake up and you just it's lunchtime. You dive in a pool of tacos and Coronas.
You've got a choice: hot dog or taco pool.
Oh man, no! You got to do that series, where there's a bunch of pools that are different temperatures, and so you jump into each one in sequence. So you start at the hot dog pool, then you move to the taco pool, and then we got to make ourselves a pie pool.
That's a lot of that's a lot of cholesterol though. I'm gonna be real, y'all. That physical is not gonna go well. Yeah, so we can now we just create another one. So create another empty.
Pie.
All right,
there we go.
Let's go there, and that's it. Like that's how we set these pools up now. So we've basically built them. We can just set these pools up real quickly.
Yep.
Can we make a ghost pool? No, not a ghost pool, but can we make a monster pool? So we can pull a monster.
We can make a monster pool. We are going. Let's start with our classic Zombo pool. And It's so easy.
Like
it's
what
like
a cool
slap chop.
What a cool implementation. Like I love it.
Very scalable. I like scalable solutions.
Yeah. Oh, so this is a great question. So Weekend is saying, so you don't need to, do you still need to implement on destroy pooled object to destroy objects that get created beyond the max size of your pool? That actually might be a great question because I think it might throw the destroy event. And then we may not. Should we test it? We should test that live. I think you're actually onto something.
Just let me real quick. Okay, go on.
All right. So here's what we're gonna test it in a hacky way. If I might take over for a second, I have an idea on how we can kind of hack test it.
Do it.
So our max pool size is set to 50, right? So I'm just gonna tell this to instantiate. When we do our init, I'm just gonna change the number in the init really quick. Where did I write that init? I'm lost. Oh, help me! I'm lost in my own code.
A little up. Yeah.
Yep. So we're just gonna change this to 60, and it's gonna add these all to the list. So why don't we just let's do on the destroy pooled object. Let's do a debug.log. I have this many object. Init, what is it called? Initial objects? What do we call it? Yeah, initial objects dot count, right?
Mm-hmm.
Count. So that way, when we do when on destroy calls, we'll see if it's actually auto destroying or not. I'd actually, now that someone says that out loud, I think you're right. I think we actually have to tell it to destroy the game object.
Let's check it out.
All right.
I doubt.
Dun 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 dun. All right, so we do this, and then we pause, and we go to our console. Getting weapons is getting called. Does that call every time the weapon instantiates?
Looks like.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I have this many. I have 60 in my pool.
Okay.
Well, but the list is going to have, when an object is destroyed, it's still removed from the list, right? Or it becomes null.
Well, but you're looking at the initial list. The list could have 60. Yeah. Should you be looking at the pool active count?
We should look at the inactive count.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so back to code. So you're actually right. So we actually want to look at object pool dot count inactive, because we are setting them to inactive, so it should give us that if they're destroyed. But we did see that the on destroy is called, so it did destroy objects.
Yeah, that's true.
But the question is, did those objects actually get destroyed or not? We will find out. Find out next time on Scope Check.
No, that's not our vibe. Scope Check. That's our vibe.
All right, let's see. Roll. Womp, womp, womp. I have 50 in my pool. It's already destroying them for us, y'all.
Woo!
Nice.
Woo!
So really, just the on destroy, we can just call it.
Yeah. That works like a charm. That's a really neat implementation, honestly.
It's really easy, right? Like I spent so after our last stream, that was kind of how I finished my Friday, and I was like, this is just working.
And I love that it uses interfaces. Our new input system is also all interface based. Oh, really nice. Beautiful.
And then that's something to actually call out. So you don't have to do it the way we did it. You could actually just access the interface and write your own implementation of it, right? I didn't do that. I was like, well, it already gives me a generic object pool. I already know what my pool object is. Oh, Hadi made a point. That log message got printed 50 times. Yeah. Wait a minute.
I don't think it necessarily. No, I think because we're doing this in like the initialization, we're calling that debug, and it's checking what this is saying is that that's consistent, right? Because if it was like more than that,
So getting weapons is being called 300 times.
that's because we have 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, number of pool number. Yeah, we have like
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we have
have-
6
yeah.
pools times 5, right?
Yeah.
So that's expected. I think I have this many 50 in my pool is safe. If we were seeing multiple entries with different numbers, I think that would be an indication of a problem.
I mean, there's a pretty easy way to test this. Why don't we just disable, like, just keep one pool object enabled in the
Oh,
scene
yeah.
Smart. Yep.
and,
Yeah.
and then see what that runs.
Let's look, and then we can do some more research here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, if you're wondering, Control-Shift-A is a pretty easy shortcut to set active or inactive in
Oh.
hierarchy.
There we go. See, I have this many
Yep.
in my pool. It called it
Yep.
10 times.
Yep, there you go.
So that means 10 objects were destroyed. We
Yep.
were seeing that called for everyone, and there was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Yep.
So we'd be doing safe things right now. So that's
Look at
good.
us. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at what a little
Because we
prep
got our
work does.
water wings on. We're in the pool, but we got our safety
We
measures.
floating. We
Uh,
practice safety.
Now I just want to do a lazy river float. Now it's all the floating and pool talk.
So
Game dev in the lazy river.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing. That should be a game jam. That should be next game jam.
that should be next game jam. Should we? Now we're getting a little wild. Do we want to try to change our enemy spawner to actually grab out of the pool?
Oh, we're going off the path
Can
for
we?
this in the last minute. I mean,
Can we-
like you.
So should we? Because we still need to decide what's pending and stuff. Why don't we chat about what's pending? What do we need to
Okay.
do, and then see what we can do right now versus in the later weeks.
I wanted to go
I
ham.
love how
Fine.
like our entire cycle was, yeah, we're safety, we've got our floaties on. Then Thomas and I are both like, but what if we popped them and just sunk under the water? And Utsop is like, what?
Let's go rogue. Let's jump over the chain link fence of the apartment complex and dive into the pool we've never seen before. And it's like, wait.
Like
Like, hey,
let's
guys,
think
that's
about this
illegal.
for a minute.
What's there to think about it, Sov? There's a big pool I've never seen before. Let's dive in.
This is
Yeah.
true. This is true.
There's probably
Um,
not sharks in it.
Maybe just some gators.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if we're in Florida. But C-Script pointed out the very obvious point about the fact that computers in the water perhaps aren't the best combination, but still,
Yeah.
we could just like. we
Hey,
could just
you
put
get
computers
that's
in a
that's
plastic
part
bag.
of the challenge. That's part of the challenge. You got to keep the
It's not get your
laptop
computer
on your lap. You can't go further down into water.
You know what we should do though? Let's actually comment this code up a little bit.
Oh,
I think
good
let's
call.
do that really
Mhm.
quick. That'll be our final thing, and then we'll do assignments and go home. And by go
Yeah.
home, I mean turn off our
We are-
computers and change desks.
I am.
Boy, I am
I
home.
have real work to do after this call, so I'm gonna go do that up.
Same, actually. I've got Today's gonna be well.
Yeah.
My wife gets back from her business trip in an hour and a half.
Oh, nice.
I'm very excited. I haven't seen her in like 6 days. I miss the missus. All right. Anyway, let's get some comments going. So we have this. This is our object pool. Object pull from Unity engine dot pool. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Pool. And then we can come down here and just basically be like, this is the object that we will pool. And if we want to make this fun for couldn't we do something like tooltip?
Mm-hmm.
Put your pooled object here. Let's say we have a designer coming in to lay some stuff out for us and we're trying to build tools for them. Like, would that make sense? Also, question for y'all. This is the same. If I did this, right, we're good. We can do something like this. And that tooltip will work in the editor. I always ask myself that question and feel silly.
Yeah. That looks right to me.
It's off as the official safety director. I like that title. I like that title a lot. So now if we just hover here, right? It'll say, put your pooled object here. Great. Cool. So we got this, and then how many objects are we going to allow our pool to have? And then this is just for our pre-warm or initialization. This list is useless after. Sorry, list. Okay. So that's there. And then we don't really need to talk about this. This will create the pool in on enable if the pool is not already. Is there anything else we want to give information wise? Like maybe just say this uses. Oh my gosh.
For me, the active inactive seems reversed, so I don't know if we added any comment based on that. But the first time we talked about that was confusing to me.
Okay, let's do that for sure. This uses the max objects. This uses the max object pool size int to define number of objects. We also need to fix that because we did it for our testing. Right?
Yep.
All right, so then this is the for each and the release. We're good here. So private void on destroy pooled object. We're going to get rid of this debug. This is called when objects are destroyed. They are only destroyed if the pool already has the maximum. All right, you know, here's what we're going to do for code commenting. Sorry, y'all. Oh my gosh. Because I think we can shortcut it better this way if we do this, right? And then every time I hit enter, isn't it going to give me another line of comment? Yeah, okay. Pool already has... Wow, I deleted a lot. So this is called only when the pool already contains the max number of objects. Otherwise, objects. If it does, then the object is destroyed instead of being released to the pool. Good enough? Wait. Someone's teaching me a different way to comment? Teach me.
Thomas,
you
you're
don't
just
need...
double starring it. It's only a single star. But
Yes,
I mean, like,
this is true.
the second star is basically just part of the comments now.
It just sounds cute.
But like,
I've always done star. I've been doing this wrong for 7 years.
we all
Thank you.
have opinions about the
I appreciate
situation.
it. That's why you're here, chat. Teach us.
I have opinions on the number of comments we add.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why it's just kind of fun for me right now. It's a little therapeutic.
We have clowns. We have comments. What? How can we make Utsav stay worse?
Currently, the object is simply deactivated. Here's something I want to ask you all. Do we, when the object returns to a pool, do we want to assign it like a random position in the game and shoot it out of the screen window? Or do we care?
We don't care. I don't think we need to do that.
I have 2 types of comments. I do have 2 types of comments. All right, well, we're going to leave those for now. We'll fix them off stream. Or I'll go fix them in a second. But is there anything else we need to do? Yes, we need to do this. Let's try 333. Oh, yeah. See the summaries and the returns. All right, cool. I'm just going to do these types of comments, and then we can mess them later. Sorry, y'all, if I'm breaking brains right now. This is called when the pool tries to get an object, and the object does, and there is no object available in the pool.
I just saw a comment on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know how to feel.
Like, I'm sort of insulted, but also maybe
But also
not.
it tracks. Like, it's very about so for our Twitch folks out there.
Yeah.
So we've got, I don't want to butcher the name, Meyer Vincent Vigula. Scotch Hub is the Joe Rogan podcast of game devs, but he does add fun and interesting, so thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, so like, I think that's kind of spot on.
Okay, so this is here. And actually, somebody made a really good point. We actually do need to destroy the object, so just because it's not in the pool, the object is still existing in the scene, I think.
Is it?
Let's go look at the documentation. I'm really worried that it's not.
Well, when you're giving it back to the pool, when you're releasing it back to the pool should do a max check and destroy any objects that are beyond the max, right?
There's a really easy way to test this though, and this will be the last thing we do tonight, today, tomorrow, yesterday. Let's go to food. Let's go to our pie ammo. Because don't we have an ammo? We have an ammo method function, right? Isn't there a function for these? Do these not have any code on them? All right.
No, because they're scriptable objects, right?
No, this is an actual. This is actual game object. All right, I got an idea though. Go back to ammo test. What are we doing? Go on.
Ammo test.
I'll show you. I have this idea. Let me just show you this idea. But I think I just like set the world on fire. Here we go. Edit script.
I don't think we have a script called ammo test, do we?
I just made it. Because can't we just do on destroy? Can't we just call on destroy? .log. I've been destroyed. So I just want to see if it's actually destroying the object or if it's just removing it from the pool.
If there are any English majors out there,
I've been destroyed, y'all. I've been destroyed.
You didn't know what you all signed up for when you're hanging out with me, did you? You're like, oh no. All right, do we see bad grammar anywhere in here? Yeah, so it did not destroy the object. It just does not allow it back in the pool. So...
Wait, so where's the object? We should be able to see the object then.
Wait, and also it's only on the pie, which we're not instantiating pies. Hold on, give me a minute.
Oh.
Oop.
So maybe that's
The
why it's
pie.
not getting destroyed.
Yeah,
Maybe
hold on,
that
mouse
has
will play.
something to do with it, huh?
No, I don't think so.
nah.
All right, where are we at? Yeah, it's still not getting destroyed.
But are we
Okay, so
adding
we need to
60?
destroy
Didn't
them.
we change it to 50 though? We're not.
I changed it.
actually-
I changed. Oh my gosh, you're right. We fixed the
Yeah.
code again.
Yep.
This test is way harder than I anticipated. All right, scripts, mono behaviors. My dogs are barking. I'm sorry. There's a mailman or a human being within range.
Chaos range.
It all stems from that wrong grammar you just did, Thomas. I want you to know.
Right.
The
All
dogs were like, wait, hold on.
Dogs can't stand it.
All right, here we go. We're gonna load. We're gonna hit play. Now, theoretically, I've done my job. Theoretically.
I'm pretty sure it
uh.
should be destroyed. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't being destroyed.
It's still not, dude.
But where are the actual objects? Can we see them?
Under the pie pool group.
Should we count them? Should we count how many pies there are?
Manually count pies.
Well, can't we just do a list? Oh, we could get a list of the objects. Yeah.
Wait. Also,
I'm telling you.
you can try it.
Look,
You can just do a debug for inactive objects in pool, right?
Well, no, because the inactive objects in the pool are only the objects in the pool that aren't being allowed. I'm telling you right now, it is not being destroyed because on destroy is not getting called. I completely agree with that logic.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so I really believe in that logic, and I guarantee you if we go into pooled object and we go into on destroy and we just say destroy game object, just by adding that, we're going to see this is going to do what we want it to do. You can select them and the counters up on the top right. TL prod. Why aren't you should do you have a camera and a mic?
Join us.
Join us. Join this nightmare.
Once
All right.
again, all of the people in chat, you're part of this development team. You
They
be
really
saving us
are.
every time.
All right, let's go
Look
look
at
at the
the
console
sky.
now. I've been destroyed 60 times.
Yeah. But did we activate all of the pools? No. Weird.
I actually didn't activate any of the pools.
Then why is it being called 60 times? That's so
1, 2,
weird.
3, 4. Oh, because we don't have any pools, so it can't actually. Oh, there's a pie pool. The pie pool's here.
Pie pool.
There's nothing in the pie pool.
You changed the for loop. I did change the
yeah.
for loop, but
To 60.
Yeah, but that's the point. We need to change it to test it.
the best part is, oh, you know why? You know why? Because we destroyed
Why?
the pool. All right, we're done testing, and here's why. Because now we're saying destroy game object. So we're literally saying destroy the pool instead of destroy object.
Oh! Oh! Ouch! Pain! Mortal injury! Logic, no! No! Oh no! No wonder, like, why is everything inactive? Because we destroyed the one thing that's active.
All right, so now let's go look
This
here.
is why we're
There we
game
go. I've been
devs.
destroyed 10 times. So now it is killing the object 10 times.
Can you imagine if somebody gave us access to heavy machinery? Like, there are some times where people are meant for like living in front of a computer.
All right. Zoomer, you asked an awesome question. I'm going to be very clear. Not very clear, but like, I don't have a way to do that. We've got like 5 minutes left on the show and we got to wrap. However, this code all lives on GitHub. So we'll drop the GitHub link for you. And you could download it, build it, and test it.
Yeah, and if pulled objects do not get destroyed, will Unity hold all the objects in RAM? Yes, it's in a heap, you know.
Yep. I agree with you now, Con. We should make these comments a lot cleaner. I'll go through and clean those up before I commit. Okay. The last thing, the final countdown. We just need to build what we're doing. So let me get my little to-do list out.
Oh, and we do have something else that we also need to call out regarding schedule.
Yes, actually, Joy, would you like to call that out right now?
Yeah, hey, guys, there's a holiday that we didn't take into account. Is it next Friday?
It is next Friday, yes.
So next Friday is it a real holiday or is it
it's a real holiday. It's a Memorial Day weekend.
Right. So the reason why I keep checking in is because I have no sense of time and reality. So basically I work until somebody says, hey, don't work. And this is another one of these instances. So next Friday is a holiday, which means we are not going to be in office. So that means that we have to adjust our schedule a little bit.
Yep.
So next Friday, there will be no stream.
No stream, we're not here.
We will have more streams. Well, no, so it's still 8 weeks, but we have a gap. So next, why are you having me do this? So next Friday, we will not have a stream. But the following Friday, we will stream. And the following Friday after that,
there will be a stream.
Yeah. So we'll just skip a week.
Yeah, basically we're just skipping a week. And why is Friday the holiday?
We get
Memorial Day.
Our company is kind enough to give us the Friday and the Monday off. So we actually get 2 days off from Memorial Day as a company, which is amazing.
So that's actually so the reason why I asked whether or not this is a real holiday, I realized that sounds kind of weird out of context. So Unity gives us what we call connect days, which is basically like kind of mental health thing or an opportunity like reconnect with family, that sort of thing. So those happen throughout the year. It's part of Unity's work-life balance thing. So when I say, is this a real holiday, I'm not referring to the fact whether or not this holiday is valid. I'm referring to the fact of whether or not this is a
Connect Day or
US holiday or a Unity holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
So just for clarity, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But we're all US based, therefore we're off Friday and Monday regardless. So there's going to be a week gap. We're taking a week off. When we come back, we will have all of our code locked, loaded. We'll have our vertical slice pretty much ready with everything with our stuff. And we are going to test the game with some pros. They're going to give us feedback and notes and ideas.
Also,
the NE Tim, check the careers page. I'm not sure what hiring's like right now, but check it out.
I won't be at the next stream. The one after the week after, I am out because I'm taking a vacation outside of the holiday, so I won't be here. But I will do my work. You guys can scrutinize me without me being there. Without me being there to defend myself.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we know that, let's finish up our assignments. So, Utsav, sounds to me like, my man, like you got to finish up the player controller, right?
Yeah, I really do. And that includes animations. Do we have animations?
We do not yet have player animations. We will have those for the final stream.
Can I just put the placeholder animations?
Not yet, no. We just have the generic ones for now.
Okay, I'll just put comment there to add the animation, but I'll put the triggers in there, and then the only two really remaining actions for me are toggle and shoot.
Okay, toggle and we'll say throw.
Throw, yeah.
Okay, Joy.
Me? Who me? What me? What you want me do?
So you could tie in the spawning system into the pool system if you want. Or do you want me to do that? So basically, we would just need to get a reference to the pools on the spawner, and then be able to grab from the pools for the enemies, and then...
I mean, that seems... I could do that.
Or do you want to do like an art pass and like actually get into it and like make it look really crisp?
Yeah.
Yeah. So art pass, help like make the world just look better, tighten things up, use a bunch of stuff. Okay, so Joy, you're doing an art pass.
Yeah, and like, do we have like are the enemies like? Do we have anybody doing the enemy animation? Or if I was to do that, would that be
Message Stefano and ask him,
Okay.
because I asked him to do the animations, but he had to start late on the character, so he actually might not have time, and so you might actually be able to do the anime animations. So just ping Stefano and see.
Ah, wait till the next time you see us, guys. It's gonna be a completely different
Alright.
visual game.
And so for me, then I think what I'll work on is prepping audio assets. I think we'll implement them live, so I'll just research how we want to implement them and get everything put together. I will also tie the systems into the pool. That includes like the ammo and everything like that. I'll get that all tied into the pool. Because I agree with Hadouken, and that's like a 15-second, maybe an hour and a half job to get everything set up. I will also
That's
set
a great
up.
range.
I'll set up the rest of the
15
pools.
seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Do I need to wait for your setup to do throw? I don't think so. We'll see.
I don't think you'll
Yeah.
need to, but like I'll have it set up pretty quickly. Like that'll be like, because like next week is only it's actually only a 3-day week for me, because I'm going to a fighting game tournament in Chicago Thursday and Friday. But so I got to work really fast. So like you'll have all of my work by Wednesday next week.
Okay. Okay.
If not like Tuesday morning of the following. So like I'll make sure I'm working on that pretty consistently.
And I just want to
Okay.
do a quick shout out, because we do have, like, since we're missing a stream, this has become very much part of like my personal work cadence to work on this. And so I am going to post about my progress on Instagram. So if you want to see what we're doing, at least what I'm doing when we are not streaming, go ahead and follow me. I actually have the link now, guys.
Oh, great.
I prepare myself. So if you want to
Look at
follow
that.
me on Instagram and see how things progress, go and follow me, and you'll be able to see things. And also, I have a big brain moment. I just thought of something very funny that I'm going to be doing, and you will see it on Instagram, and there'll be the full reveal during the next stream. But I was inspired, and I'm gonna do some shenanigans, so...
Ooh, Rob wants the GitHub link. Let me grab it really quick before we say goodbye. GitHub.com. I need to figure out if anybody knows how to change your GitHub username. My GitHub username
I
is
do
from
know.
like 15 years ago, and I would like to change that. So please tell me how to do so I can be Thomas Winkley instead of Zombietron. Even though that's a great name, and I think I'm pretty cool. Okay, so there's the GitHub links for you all. Evoland. Joy, I feel like I ignored your idea, but I'm excited to see what it is. Sorry.
I
was
am
looking for
also
links.
really excited to see what it is.
Oh.
Should we wait?
I don't know. Wait, which idea?
You said you had a really good idea.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, you will see.
Cool.
I will be working on it over the next 2 weeks in top secret, and I shall not reveal it until the next stream. You will see.
Okay.
You shall see. One of
Hadi
you will
says-
be displeased.
Awesome. Joy, will you also post your progress on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Cool.
I will do that as well. I don't have a LinkedIn ready. Hold on. Me do. Quickly, I shall find a link.
Okay.
How does LinkedIn work?
Well, Joy finds that link, y'all. Let me just make sure I commit this in Unity version control. Stream 6 assets, implemented object pooling, and some triggering comment styles. Check-in changes. All right, so I just pushed this to our repo. We're good. We're checked in on Plastic or Unity version control. Sorry, we changed names now. I will then, and then I will. Oh, we're at untriggering comments. I'll fix the comment styles and do a repush, and then we'll push this all to GitHub so you'll have access to it. Y'all, thank you so much for coming along on this journey. This has been super cool. We got 2 more. Thank you. I love how much chat yells at us. Like, thank you. It's so much, like, this type of stuff is so much more fun with all of you, like, spouting off at us and helping us grow and build stuff. It's been super cool.
Yes.
All of the VODs are available on YouTube and Twitch. So if you want to go see those, you can check. I'm gonna poke at the homie Hassan and see if I can get him to make us a little playlist on YouTube. I am also posting all of the old episodes on Unity Learn. So if you go to learn.unity.com, I'm embedding all of the YouTube episodes so that you have a nice even playlist with all of them. So you'll have all of those. And I just think you're wonderful. Joy, any final words for the good peoples?
Nope. Thank you for all your hard work. If you guys didn't comment, it would be very quiet and awkward. And while we can keep ourselves entertained, it's so much more fun when you guys are all along with us.
And so helpful. I'll just add, you
Yeah.
guys are so helpful. And I am really, really happy that I have this opportunity to build a game with you guys.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Be safe, be well, treat each other kindly, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the playtest.
Bye.
Waiting for that.